We offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation. My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation. My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation. My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation. My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international.
Kenya are. Many times we're told,
My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation. My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation. My name is Duta Dirango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation.
All right, a very good morning. It's a beautiful morning right here in Nairobi City, and very good morning to everybody who is watching us online. Of course, welcoming you to the second edition of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers SME Bootcamp 2021. The conversation about SMEs definitely has to continue and has to keep on going. Why? Because of the importance it plays in our current economy. Now, if you are there online watching us, please inform everybody else who is in the SME sector especially. And if you're on Facebook, please click on that share button. If you're on YouTube as well, send that link to all your loved ones who really need to know and have questions when it comes to regulatory matters, because the theme for the day is regulatory compliance. And so all those questions you've been asking, oh, how do I get this? What license? What everything? All those things will be dealt with today. And I have good news for you, because it's a 360 conversation, because all those bodies are represented here in this house today. So whatever question you may have today, we will be able to address them. Now, I'll tell you a few things why this is a very important conversation, and just hear me out. Number one, according to a research done by, the CBK, and it was an economic survey report, it indicates that SMEs constitute, listen to this, 98% of all businesses in Kenya. Now, that's huge. That's huge, and that draws an attention towards looking at why we need to really ensure the goodwill of all SMEs in the country. Now, another thing is that they create 30% of all the jobs annually, as well as contributing to 3% of the GDP. Very important for the growth of our country and for the growth of the economy. That means definitely them being a very important driving force to the economy. We need to really seriously look at them and ensure that they are thriving, in other words. Just a quick other second thing that I want to give you, and this was a survey by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and this is what they say, which was in 2018, that approximately 400,000 micro, small, and medium enterprises do not celebrate their second birthday. They just die. Quite sad. And this time around, we hope that in this conversation, we will at least start celebrating 20th birthday, 30th, and forever going to generations, right? So thank you so much, and I just wanted to welcome you and tell you that we have this conversation as well going on Twitter. The hashtag is compliance for SMEs. The 4 is a letter 4, you know, a number 4, sorry. Compliance for SMEs. So if you have any question on Twitter, send it in. I'll be checking them out. I really want to answer them with the help of the panelists that we have. And just a quick mention to you that in the house, we have the Kenya Bureau of Standards represented as well, Kenya Revenue Authority, the National Environmental Management Authority in the house, Kenya Industrial Property Institute in the house, Competition Authority of Kenya as well. And I know some of the questions that were already sent earlier on, who are those? All those things will be addressed. But to first of all start the conversation, and in the opening remarks session, I want to really invite Ms. Joyce Njogu, who is the head of consulting and business development, to open up the session for us and really welcome us as well at large. Ms. Joyce Njogu, welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I want to recognize the Principal Secretary, State Department for East African Community and Regional Integration, PS, Dr. Kevin Desai, who has been a friend of the manufacturing sector for quite a number of years. I want to recognize the presence of our CEO, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Mrs. Phyllis Wakiaga, representing, of course, the Secretariat and the board here. Karibu Phyllis. I also want to recognize the SME Hub Chair, Ms. Shiro Waithaka. Karibu sana. I want to recognize State Department of Industrialization Representative, Ms. Nancy Moya, Kenya Revenue Authority Chief Manager, Policy and Tax Advisory, Ms. Lina Olum, Kenya Bureau of Standards Representative, Mr. John Kabue, National Environment Management Authority Representative, Ms. Anastasia Vialu, Kenya Industrial Property Institute Representative, Ms. Elvin Apio, Competition Authority of Kenya representative, Mr. Arnold Okang, the SMEs who've joined us virtually and those who are also here physically, and Kam members who are listening in on how we can together grow the SME sector. Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni. We are so excited this morning to host this regulatory bootcamp for SMEs. This is our second one. Last year we did our first courtesy of the SME Hub conversations around supporting SMEs to understand all the regulatory environment and how they can operate in a competitive manufacturing sector. So as Kam, we are quite proud of being at the forefront of supporting manufacturing SMEs and helping them grow in this current scenario, even throughout the pandemic, building their resilience. And we urge all stakeholders, starting with government and the private sector and all other development partners, to work together to create an enabling environment for SMEs to thrive, for SMEs to be able to be supported deliberately and intentionally with a very clear program that can help them grow as a sector and influence the wealth of this economy. Also, the SMEs are quite unique and dynamic, and with that, we need to be very adaptable in the way we come up with interventions to support SMEs. We cannot say, oh, this law was set up 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and we know the environment is consistently changing. So we are saying, let's come together, and we are glad that all of you came together from all the regulatory authorities that affect SMEs, and we would like to together discuss and share the opportunities that are there to support SMEs to comply, at the same time to network and grow in the process. Also, would like to ask the SMEs to pay attention to the issues that are being mentioned, take note of all the requirements, and as well as express your interests to us. And through this forum, whether it's online or sharing on email or speaking out, please tell us the challenges that you're going through and share your voice. Let's hear your voice so that together we develop proper programs that can help you grow. So we encourage all SMEs to take advantage of this bootcamp and many other bootcamps that will come along the way for market access and others. This one is specifically on regulatory compliance so that we can benefit all of us as an economy and your business also can grow as an SME. Let's work together and critically look at the strategies to help you grow. Otherwise, I wish to thank you all for showing up here, and I urge all of us after this to do a follow-up session, come up with a working group to follow up on all the things that we discussed, and then jointly keep talking, keep the conversation going, and most importantly, let's help SMEs to comply and to grow. Asanteni sana, and we wish you fruitful deliberations in this session. Karibuni.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Madam Joyce, for those remarks. And of course, I think you have said it as it is. And I just want to speak a little bit from experience and what I have seen over the time, that every week, every Friday, I have a session with an SME. And every time we sit down, they always have these questions, you know, and we have seen some even venting out on social media because sometimes they need to know what to do. Of course, in support of what the government is doing, really trying to, you know, enlarge the scale so that at least we can have more young people embracing manufacturing, embracing doing business by themselves. We really need to address and ensure they have a safe environment where it is easy for them to start up. You know, I told somebody that we will have the competition authority in the house, and I was just briefing them and all that. And one of the questions that was asked is, who are they? What do they do? You know, and so I just want to alert our viewers today that do not worry, because all those questions will be answered today. Remember, the conversation is as well ongoing, and the hashtag for the day is compliance for SMEs. Now, in the house is our host. You can never get to a house without asking the owner to allow you in. And I want to request the CEO, Phyllis Wakiaga, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, to come and address us. Karibu sana.
Good morning, everyone. My greetings from a very cold Nairobi. I think all of us are speaking about the Kenyan winter that happens around this time, but I really want to appreciate all of you for joining us on this morning to understand how the regulatory framework in Kenya works. I'll start by recognizing the presence of those in the room with us today. We have our board member, Shiro Waweru Waithaka. She's also the chair of the SME Hub. And I think for those who know her, the proprietor of Fun Kids, Fun Homes, and making very beautiful products that we see her marketing online quite actively. I also want to appreciate PS Kevin Desai. Kevin is a strong and passionate supporter of industry and the work that we do. So he's been very keen to participate in the conversation on regulatory framework. He's the PS for ESC. We also have Nancy Muya with us from the State Department of Industry. We have Ms. Lena Olum from the Kenya Revenue Authority. We have John Kabue from the Kenya Bureau of Standards. We have NEMA represented here. We have our friend Elvin Apio from KIPI, the Competition Authority of Kenya, represented by Arnold Okang, the manufacturing SMEs, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers members, all of you who have joined us today, we really appreciate you. So first, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, who are we? We are a business membership organization, and we have been in existence since 1959. We are very keen to see how we can grow a competitive and sustainable local manufacturing sector. That is what we wake up to do every day. And at the heart of what we do is the SME. I think you heard the statistics earlier by our MC, that 98% of businesses are SMEs, that the GDP contribution of SMEs in the country is also quite significant. What we want to see for manufacturing SMEs is how we help them to grow. So as an association, we are keen on fact-based, solution-based advocacy, so that when we have conversations with our stakeholders, who are mainly the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, the legislature, the executive, development partners, we are having conversations based on fact and really coming up with solutions that can address the issues facing the manufacturing sector. So on SME development, we launched the Manufacturing SME Hub, I think about 4 years ago. Before that, we were doing a lot of work with SMEs, but we wanted to structure it in a way that we had a program that was deliberate and structured for the SMEs. So the SME Hub was launched, and Shiro Waithaka was really at the heart of driving us to challenge ourselves as an association on how we can support SMEs and enable them to take advantage of the market. So what we are doing is continuing to advocate for an enabling environment and putting SMEs at the heart of it. And the SME Hub is really looking at providing, first of all, a link for markets for SMEs, helping SMEs on matters relating with policy, working with SMEs to incubate them, see how we can accelerate and really scale the SMEs to grow. We also have partnerships with different players. Some of them include the NSC, that's the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and the Capital Market Authority. We are trying to work with them to see how we can have capital markets and security exchange and look for different ways of financing SMEs. We are also working with financial institutions. We have partners like Equity Bank, NCBA, and others, where we are looking at access to finance, which remains a key bottleneck for SMEs. So we want to see how we can enable SMEs to take advantage of the affordable finance through the credit guarantee schemes and the other programs within the banking sector. We also have a retired experts program under the SME Hub, where we are working with retired experts who have worked in the manufacturing sector and are willing to give of their time and skills to mentor our SME members in various areas. So some of the key areas we are looking at is corporate governance, the issues of sales and marketing of their products, finance, procurement, audit and risk, amongst others. We also have at the Hub a Board of Advisors program. For this one, we are keen to see how we can inculcate good governance within SMEs from a very early stage of development. So we have volunteers also who have volunteered as Board of Advisors, and they are able to sit with the SMEs within their businesses, understand some of the challenges they are facing, and give them advisory services so that they can become dynamic in the market. The other area we are big on is capacity building for manufacturing SMEs. And these are areas we have mapped out by understanding the SMEs in manufacturing, the areas where they need to build capacity, and we have specific training programs to support them with this. We also work on linking manufacturing SMEs with large manufacturers for subcontracting and supply chain linkage opportunities. And so far, we have partnered with partners like Hako Industries to make opportunities available for essential oils and butter producers. We are also linking SMEs to retail sector, and you did see that we've been working with one of the local retailers, Carrefour, on this program. We also currently have a partnership with Unilever, also on linking our SME members to their supply chain. So all these initiatives help us address the challenges that SMEs face. A lot of them also include the policies in the environment and the regulatory regime, some of the tedious and lengthy processes relating to how they get their certifications and how they access markets, and also how they are able to grow their businesses. So the bootcamp idea was really to see how we can bring together regulators in one space to address the challenges, and also just bring understanding to the SMEs on some of the issues within the regulatory environment. This is the second such session that we are holding. Earlier this year, we also launched a regulatory audit report. And in this audit report, we looked at the entire manufacturing sector, the regulatory space and try to identify some of the areas where when we are paying these various fees and charges, we do it in a centralized way. We utilize technology to make it more efficient and also to reduce costs. The other area is in regards to the counties. For counties also, there is the issue of various fees, levies, and charges, and also sometimes the duplication across counties when we are doing business. We are happy to note that the Council of Governors and CS Matiang'i did reach an agreement that going forward, they would minimize the duplications within the different counties, and we are keen to see the outcome of that. So it's our belief that our conversation today will give us a way forward on these regulatory challenges, and we'll be able to support our SMEs to grow. As I mentioned, we have on board different regulators, all the way from NEMA, KEBS, KIPI, the Competition Authority of Kenya, and the Kenya Revenue Authority, and we are keen to interact with you so that we have constructive dialogue on how to support manufacturing SMEs. So thank you so much for coming and joining us today, and we look forward to having a constructive conversation, and beyond this, even coming up with policy proposals together on how we can simplify the regulatory space for SMEs. Thank you so much, and have a blessed day.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Phyllis Wakiaga, the CEO of Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Amazing news there. And I must say, what you had in between, for those who are online, was just a round of applause somewhere in between. Now, thanks so much for that, because I think from the statements, you have given amazing news about how you're providing an avenue for SMEs to access a variety of services right here, so that at least they are empowered in terms of mentorship and for their growth generally in their businesses. And so, just to remind our viewers today that our hashtag is ongoing, and remember, all your questions today that you've had about regulations will be answered today. The hashtag is compliance for SMEs. And just allow me to say this, that for the past 4 weeks, KAM undertook a survey, or has been even undertaking that survey, with keen interest on identifying key compliance issues affecting manufacturing SMEs. And of course, there are many interesting findings that we have been getting as well. And really, to tell us more today on the outcomes of this, I want to invite the Kenya Association of Manufacturers SME Hub Chair and also board member, Ms. Shiro Waithaka, to come and tell us what did you find out and what are the way forwards that we are really looking forward to this. Karibu sana, Madam Shiro.
Good morning, everybody. What a fantastic morning. Nairobi winters. So, all protocols observed, as we say in Kenya, Kenyanese. Really, really honored that we have so many people from the government here with us today. As I walked in this morning, maybe it's the winter or just the topic regarding SMEs, compliance, regulations, the room was kind of chilly. And I know a couple of us are ready to maybe, feel attacked or feel under attacked or attack. But that's not why we're here as the SMEs from the Kam Manufacturing. So allow me to speak from heart, from experience. Times have changed, and we've looked at policies. They do exist. Some of them are fantastic, some are archaic. I feel there's a need to actually now walk together as SMEs and government. Especially in the last 1 year. I think there's been more SMEs than we've ever had as a country. And this is because of probably the pandemic, right? Now, if we do not move at the rate of innovation of SMEs, then we'll constantly have this gap. We'll constantly keep having these boot camps. A couple of the issues I know a lot of my SME counterparts have and are ready to ask today, unfortunately, are repeat. We need to stop the repeat and we need to start solving them, but together. Even with the years of experience I've had still as an SME, some of the issues are on repeat. And when you reflect back, sometimes I wonder, maybe it's because we don't understand each other, right? Today, I ask those of you who have kindly made the time to come today, come and sit with us even in our offices. Understand on a given day, from morning to night. You don't need 2 weeks with us, just 2 days with us to understand the practical challenges. We talked of SMEs don't survive 2 years or 5 years. It's not because we don't know business. It's because along the way there are what we call landmines, potholes, which are camouflaged in 100 other licenses. It is impossible. Even right now I'm thinking I need to pay for this, I need to pay for that, right? Which we understand. We do want to be compliant. Dear Kere, we see you. We want to be compliant. We want to be law abiding. We don't wake up to be thugs. We don't wake up to break the law. We are good people. But you need to stop treating us like we wake up to be thugs. It needs to be together, because I believe at the end of the day, this is for the greater good of the country. There's a rumor spreading on Twitter that there's not made enough Kenya. Kindly tell the people spreading that rumor that that is not true. We are many who do brilliant. This jacket is made in Kenya. This skirt is made in Kenya. My bag, every day I purpose to wear made in Kenya. My pens, my notebooks, every given day. We have a lot of brilliant made in Kenya products, but we need to stop being seen as the enemy to the government. We are here to make things, right? To grow our country together. But until you understand that we do not sleep, we move at the speed of light, because our lives and the lives of those who work with us depend on it. Maybe then we will start being in sync. A couple of the things that have been discussed here from NEMA, KIPI, KEBS, they're on repeat, good people. One of the issues I know we discussed last year, for example, is on skincare products and hair products. We have African hair. We are Africans. We have African skin. I'm giving an example. Gasheri, I hope you're listening. Why is it not okay for us to be okay with natural skincare products for our skin? For a long time, we have used chemicals from other parts of the world, but it's changing. There's a huge, it's not a trend. It's not because it's cool to have African hair. It is what we have. Our skin is what it is. A lot of the products we have used on our bodies and in our hair has not been fit for us. Health is affected as a result, but the policies around this, the licensing to allow us to have, let's say, whether it's coconut for hair, skin, stomach, which is what it is not possible. I spent a couple of days down at the coast recently, and we're looking at our culture, we're looking at our foods, again, that we should be taking in and using on our bodies, but somehow within the regulations that allow us to be licensed, it's not possible. It will take another year. Why? We're dying. We're dying because of the wrong products in us. It's the chemicals. We have the environment side as well. Why are we allowing some of these things? This is not even an SME thing. It's a general human wrong and right. Good people, we are on the same side for the greater good of our country. We are not here to be loggerheads, SMEs regulation. My dear SMEs who always ask me, why join Kam, why join Kam? 60 years of experience, 60 years of research, data. Numbers don't lie. I mean, it's impossible to achieve what we're trying to do as an individual or a smaller group. Let's come together, whether you're in leather, textiles, food, construction, in manufacturing. That's the difference. We are in manufacturing. We don't have to go through the list of products that we use every day. I'm seeing a couple of you sat on a chair. Question, who's made the chair you sit on, the cameras we're using, the phones we're using. You woke up in the morning, you sat on a toilet, you used a tap, you buttoned your shirt, you put on a shoe. It's a no-brainer why manufacturing is everything. We talk about job creation, lack of jobs. If we just decide, those of us in Kiambu County maybe, just specialize in making buttons, the number of buttons would make as a country for schools, for home, buttons in wear, buttons in interiors. If we just focus on making taps, I mean, come on, guys, manufacturing. But we start small, so I don't see why it's such an uphill task to start as a small business. It shouldn't be. Look at countries like Germany. They started with what is called cottage industries, but here it's almost like it's a punishment to be wanting to have a dream and go beyond that dream, to actually say, I will start from the back of my house, from the road. It's almost like it's a punishment. We are not here to do wrong, dear government. We're not here to do wrong, dear policy makers. We wake up every day more resilient. This pandemic, if ever a time I saw our resilience as Kenyans in the SME, was this time. With everything, we're still here, we're still hopeful, because we know the impact it can have on our country. It's not easy, but it can be made easier if we remove some of these things that honestly I don't understand why they're there. Why must I go through pages and pages and pages of complaints, pages and pages of regulations every single day? Why must it be so difficult? You live in this country, your children live in this country, your grandchildren live in this country, we'll live in this country. Why are we on opposite sides, good people? Why is my question today? Let's sit at the table together. Let's look at what doesn't make sense, because a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense for today, 2021, and where we're trying to go. This is not about politics. This is about everyday Kenyan lives and what this will do to our economy if we even manufactured 50% of the items we use, just 50% of the everyday items. If we made them in Kenya, whether you're a small business or big business, if we did that here, the domino effect in our economy, we would not have the problems we have. Good people, this is an honest plea. We didn't start this because it's a good tool. We started this hub because it's a must do, and we must do now. We do not have the luxury of time as a country, as a continent, to sit back and debate on policies and new policies and regulations. We just need to get on with it, and get on with it now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And because I have some people in the house, please a round of applause to Shiro. Very passionate about why we have the SME Hub and why it's important. Thank you so much for that. And of course, I heard you, very much heard you, also promoting the fact that we can all be promoters of Kenyan products, definitely. I am an example, as you can see, yeah? There you go. And Phyllis, I saw you as well. Great, thanks a lot for that. Let's reason together, that's what Shiro has said. And definitely wonderful feedback there as well from what you've spoken about, that we want to be compliant and we want many things to really help us so we can grow. So we want to just take a breather and just listen more as well to Shiro Waithaka on a video that you did some time back. And so I want to request our team to kindly have the video play. Let's listen. As we are set, then we will have those words there coming forth. Now, the key stakeholders are in the house, as I told you, and they will be helping us with answering these questions today. And so I want to really appreciate them for coming in here. The government that is represented here. And at this moment, allow me to invite Ms. Nancy Muya, who is the State Department of Industrialization representative in the House. She's here and she came early, said she's ready to speak on what the government is doing. So, Ms. Nancy Muya, the time is yours. Please come, and you're welcome.
So, good morning once again. Yeah. I'm Nancy Moya, Director, Enterprise Development in the State Department for Industrialization, in the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development. I'm the one in charge of the SMEs from the industrial sector. And you realize that we also have two departments, the State Department for Trade and also State Department for Industrialization. When I looked at the topic that Kenya Association of Manufacturers had asked me to speak on, I realized it's quite a wide topic. We may speak about it the whole day and even throughout. And I know we have also had conversations around this for quite some time. And because the business for today is about the regulators, I'll just mention some of the things in regard to the support and also development of the SME sector. And I just want to appreciate the effort that has been made by Kam today and to speak about this area. And this today's business, I can count, is a milestone by Kam in efforts towards the growth and development of the SME sector. Since the launch of the SME Hub in 2018, I believe we were also together with Kam. And some of the main functions or the mandate of the Ministry of Industrialization includes implementation of the industrial and trade policies within the sector, promoting of value addition, both in the agro sector and also the other sectors. We know there are quite many, and then promoting and developing the micro and small enterprises, which we have always looked forward to them graduating to the medium and the large enterprises, then promoting and facilitating the domestic and foreign investments through the trade sector, and then promoting and developing the special economic zones and industrial parks, then enhancing the market access for Kenyan exports, and also overseeing the implementation of local content. Madam Chair, SME Hub has talked about the local products we need to buy Kenya to build the country. I can't overemphasize what has just been said about the SME contribution to the GDP, SME growth to the Kenyan economy, including the contribution of this sector towards the labor force in the country. And we are saying that development of this sector, therefore, is central to the realization of the goals, the national development goals, the Kenya Vision 2030, and also the Big Four agenda, which we have also talked about. And the sector is particularly important for providing jobs and income opportunities for economically excluded segments of the population, that it includes the youth, the women, and also people or persons with disabilities. We all agree that this sector has challenges, and from time to time, government has also come up with the policies, reviewed the policies, the existing policies, and this has been done jointly also with the private sector and with the other players, including the development partners, to address the impeding issues that affect the growth of the sector. And there are quite many, including the skills. Madam Chair has talked about capacity building, the managerial skills, and also
even finances and the markets, and more so the information, because I think what lacks is about the information, access to information, and there is also the issue of the startups. You know, the hard holding has also been an issue. The speakers, the two speakers have mentioned about even the getting the retired people in the manufacturing sector, who I believe do the hard holding of the SMEs and also the startups. But the key thing is about what you had requested about the government support, and I've said it is quite wide, but first and foremost, the government has been the front line in formulating and reviewing and implementation of policies. There are quite a number of policies across the sector, and I do agree with the Madam Chairperson on the SME Hub. There is need to have one-on-one or a dialogue within the policymakers and also the SMEs in the country. You recall recently we reviewed the MSc policy. We already have it. It was officially launched late last month. It is available, and I think I've also shared some advanced material with the Kam, but we will also be sharing more copies with the Kam so that they can also be disseminated, and we see where do we have a one-on-one, where do we come in, because implementation is very key. We also have the National Industrialization Policy Framework, which is 2012 to 2030, so it is still valid. And we also have other policies, including the trade policies, the youth policies. All these have a segment of the SME development. The other part, the government has also played part in support of the SME growth, is in the infrastructure development and also upgrading. You agree with me, there are areas where the government has given support, including the export processing zones, and also areas like cluster development. We may not have done up to the expectation of the sector, but that is another area. The MSc Center of Excellence we have, and other work sites. We also have operationalization of some of these work sites which are meant for MSCs, which are called Constituency Industrial Development Centers, which are being coordinated by Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. The ministry has also come up with the Biashara centers. So far we have 4. We have one in Kariobangi and Amsea. It opened another one in Mombasa. There is one in Kisumu, and there is also one in Eldoret. And the wish of the ministry is to have these Biashara centers countrywide, so that the information with the regulators, the information with the financiers, and also the other sector developers can reach out to the SMEs in all corners of the country. Government has also given a support in regard to access to finance. I'm sure this is one area, and maybe the CEO Kam has had the forums together with the government in the past to address the issue of financing for SMEs. We have such loans from Kenya Industrial Estate, which is one of our own. There is the Credit Guarantee Scheme, which is being spearheaded by the National Treasury. The ministry is represented there, and allowed March and the beginning of April, it had given a breakdown of how it has captured the beneficiaries who are particularly in the micro and small enterprises. It is also engaging different institutions for purposes of SME development in terms of financing. We also have other schemes like the Youth Development Fund, the Women Enterprise Fund, the Wezo Fund, among others. There are quite many. We know that the financial sector in the country has also grown with the time, and there is a lot of finances. The government also has given support in regard to access to information, and also dissemination of the same through government websites. I think all the ministries and also the departments and agencies, they have websites. This information can be available, and there is need also for the SMEs, the startups, to make use of what is existing, to reach out to get more information in regard to this. We also have the Huduma centers. I think this has also helped the Kenyans across the board. And also we have the national and the county offices, especially the ministry where I'm coming from. We are represented in a number of counties, our agencies, most of them, the KIE, the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority, they also have offices in the counties. The government also has been providing advisory services. So besides the private sector also providing the same, government has also provided some advisory services in some areas. And then access to market. I think this has also happened from time to time. We do have international, regional, and also domestic exhibitions which are geared to us promoting the sector, especially in the manufacturing and also trade. Then there is the establishment and development of SME support institutions. I think most of these government ministries, a lot of implementation goes through the public institutions, our agencies, our departments, like we have here today. I think all these Competition Authority, Kenya Bureau of Standards, KIPI, and the others like Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute for incubation and also product development. We have Numerical Machining Complex. We have also KIBT, the Kenya Industrial Business Training, which is just here in Parkland, and among others, and KIE. So there is a lot that the government is doing. There is also access to government procurement opportunities that is available in public institutions. I think this is also something that the SMEs should take advantage of. There are requirements, and I think it's also provided, like I've said, in the websites of the various ministries. They also support programs with the development partners. We have projects and programs with the World Bank, with the UNIDO, with the UNDP, and like in the ministry, we have the Kenya Youth and Employment Opportunity Program, which is headed also by the Ministry of Gender, but we have a component at the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. We also have a program which was launched in 2019, that is Kenya Industry and Enterprise Program. We have a coordinator. These two programs are supported by World Bank. Then the government also gives support on the private sector initiatives. The private sector includes KAM, includes KEPSA, includes Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and other sector-based organizations and institutions. So there is that support given. In conclusion, I just appreciate, as the ministry, it appreciates and will continue supporting the initiatives by the various ministries, the departments, the agencies, and the private sector, and in particular KAM, towards the development and growth of the MSC sector in the country. And I wish you all a fruitful engagement and look forward to working with you. Like what Madam Chair has said, I think we are available for any engagement, even after this forum. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Nancy Muya, State Department of Industrialization Representative. Very good remarks there, and progress that we're seeing in what we are talking about. Government really trying as well to help us in terms of creating an enabling environment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I have told you, even for you who is watching, thank you so much for all the comments that are coming in. I'm loving them. In fact, I can sample a few. Let me just check out. First of all, we are trending at number 5. Thank you so much for that. I can see there's a lot of comments coming in. Let me just quickly check out on a few. I think on Facebook, Riaga Dave, well done, KAM. Oh, of course, taking the opportunity to say that Jubilee Health as well, Insurance is supporting SMEs. Thank you so much for that. Wangoa Fula, you're watching. Most Eddie, Scholar Musili as well. Thank you so much for all those comments that you're giving us from your end. Also, just another sample as well. Jackson KE, as a person who is interested in starting my own business, let me learn something from this event. Definitely learn something today. And then there's also Wango Wafula. Shiro, spot on. We do not wake up to be thugs. We want to be compliant. Absolutely. People who are really checking out on this and appreciating some of the comments that have come in as well. What is happening on Twitter? Let me just take one on Twitter as well. Janet Machuka, very vocal there, saying that, of course, I have seen most Kenyans, both locally and even internationally, wearing wristbands and buying Kenyan, promoting Kenyan. Absolutely. And she has even put a sample of what we are seeing. Just one more then. Did you know that Singapore manufacturing sector contributes 20% to 25% of their country's annual GDP, which should be considered as one of the largest contributor to its coffers? Then the question definitely is, we should implement as well right here so we can have that. In fact, there's a comment right after that saying that we need to keep pushing the government to reduce the heavy taxes they impose on commodities. The hashtag is compliance for SMEs, and keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for such feedback. I don't know whether we have some on Zoom. If it could be projected right here, I would love to read one or two. Maybe I should read them later on after this. Thank you so much, Madam Muya, for those comments. And of course, some of the key takers that you will hear from here, please table them in your ministry so that at least they are addressed. Now, joining us virtually as well is the Principal Secretary, State Department for East Africa Community and Regional Integration, and that is Dr. Kevin Desai. But before that, I want to play a video that I had promised to play. Just let's get to the video back first, so that at least to prepare our keynote address speaker. So if you could have the video up. No, I can see the video is ready. And we'll hear the
being a member of Kam myself as a business. Being a member of Kam myself, as a business, I'm able to then understand who the different players in manufacturing in Kenya are. Many times we're told, these subcontracting opportunities from the bigger manufacturers for SME. This time it's also the other way around. We're giving them work. We're actually subcontracting to them to make stuff that we can use for our collections and our brands and for our customers. I believe in the last 2 months, I have personally signed up 12 new Kam SME members. More and more are going into manufacturing now, and we're welcoming them. We keep repeating, keep encouraging them to join us so that together we are stronger and we do change this country.
Thank you so much for that. Could I have some of those comments on the Zoom? Because we have people who are already on and are checking this out. I want to sample a few. I think I will need to get closer. If you can put on my microphone that I can move with, it would be very nice. For me to have zero. Yeah, it's on. All right. I have M1Giro saying that, well said, Shiro, even as we speak about manufacturing, let's also remember the providers of the services that support manufacturing, e.g. logistics service providers, freight forwards, transporters. I can see Lucy as well saying that great information, Ms. Nancy Muya, on the government initiatives towards supporting SMEs, so people are really keen on that. I think go up a bit, I can see Eunice as well. Eunice said, please, that was actually some in-house keeping there on muting microphones, so please remember that. Thank you, Shiro, for arresting. That's the word, arresting, the talk about not having made in Kenya products. Yes, we have a lot of, actually we make them, we buy them, we use made in Kenya on a daily basis. Just people really emphasizing on the fact that they are checking this out. I don't know whether I can take one more. from Eunice. That's so passionate, Michiro. Oh my goodness, this speech really got into the hearts of the people. And so that's very commendable of you. Yeah, and keep the comments coming. I think we will address and hear more as well as they come. And as I had introduced earlier on, joining us virtually, we're going to have the Principal Secretary, State Department for East Africa Community and Regional Integration, and that is Dr. Kevit Desai. Dr. Kevit Desai, would ask you to kindly let your video on, and if you can hear me, please just say hello from where you are. Please make sure you have unmuted your microphone, Dr. Kevit Desai, and allow your video on so that we can see you and hear you as well. If you're there, could you say hello? Dr. Kevit?
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you very well. So if you kindly could allow your video on so that we can hear from you.
It is on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kevit. So I would like to give you this opportunity to address us. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I very much appreciate attending this meeting. I'm at a similar meeting in Naivasha where we're discussing the second round of doing business indicators with a view of incorporating the efforts of KEPSA, CAM, the chambers on the business continuity plan, in particular to look into greater levels of productivity, innovation, and efficiency with respect to policies, legislations, and regulations and the regulatory environment. I was very impressed to hear Madam Waithaka's submission earlier on, indeed her compassionate plea to private sector to be involved within the context of commerce, industry, and trade. And indeed, this, I want to assure you and assure her, that is a common aspiration for both government as well as the public sector. Let me begin by promoting the necessary solidarity with respect to ensuring that we create a predictable environment which enables the private sector to play a more significant role to promote greater levels of innovation and clarity as far as their investments, their business acumen, and their ability to create relationships is concerned. The government of Kenya has made and strives to consistently promote great efforts towards the reform agenda with respect to the business ecosystem. That includes everything from starting a business to getting electricity, registering properties, and all the way to insolvency. In fact, within the context of the COVID-19 period, 3 acts of Parliament, the Business Laws Amendment Act, number 1 and number 2 of 2020, as well as the Small Claims Amendment Act, were assented to. We also rolled out 10 legal notices to facilitate various services in the transfer of property, including the rollout of the first ever small claims court in the country's history to promote equity of justice. And to further complement what my colleague has said earlier from industrialization, with a view of ensuring that an effective ecosystem is established. I'd like to bring 2 thoughts to your attention. The first is indeed that we're quite aware that we need to constantly strive together to create a business ecosystem. It is absolutely critical, therefore, that our efforts jointly and collectively address the challenges that we face and the solution by way of ensuring that greater proportionality of our engagement exists in order to address issues of policies, legislations, regulations, standards, and facilitative actions like infrastructure and other key constraints, and to see to it that within this ecosystem, the possibility that our ability to ensure that we collectively as government and private sector usher in this new chapter within the context of our development by ensuring that we participate and complement further government efforts, which include not only the ability to secure external markets, whether it's across the oceans, but also within the region and within the continent, but at the same time to, within the context of our own internal government, to find ways in which we address late payments and pending bills, which greatly impact industry as well as SME organizations. And recently, as you have witnessed in COVID-19 times, government being the first to market, which means through PPE activities and other activities, the accountability and the tradition and the compassion government is shown to ensure that we are able to purchase locally manufactured produce and services. And as principal secretaries, we are accountable for this this pronouncement by His Excellency President Kenyatta. It's in view of this that I share this with sharing the important and complementary role we play to not only the association's leadership as Kenya Association of Manufacturers, but actual individuals who are in the industry. And I thank you all for this opportunity to talk to you, and I look forward to greater levels of engagement into the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Kevit, for those remarks, and we appreciate you. And of course, for the efforts that you've put across that the government is doing. That was Dr. Kevit Desai, Principal Secretary, State Department for East Africa Community and Regional Integration. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still there and watching us, or the Zoom participants, the people on Facebook and Twitter, remember we still have a conversation ongoing. What are the challenges that you're facing when it comes to regulations? What are the challenges? And as I said, it's a 360 degrees today. We have all the representatives right here, KEBS, KRA, NEMA, KIPI, CAK, all those guys are right here to help us at least have a better environment for us to really thrive in our businesses and what we are doing. So we're about to get into another exciting session, and that will be a quick fire round as I invite the panelists of the day who are going to really help us out. But before then, I want us to watch another video right here, and it's about inclusive manufacturing, and I want the team to kindly do that before we get to the quick fire round. Let's go.
My name is Sarah Reeves, and I'm the owner and founder of Love Artisan. When we came into the market, we either have the street level Juakali furniture, and then we have sort of the higher end imported furniture, and then the top level Kenyan made furniture. And what I realized was there was a band that was not being addressed. There was a level of customer that wanted to support local, but now required a higher quality, wanted better design, didn't want to compromise on professionalism and so forth. So that's really the market that we aimed to attract. For me, what this program of coaching and mentorship did was to pinpoint, first of all, what are the goals and the vision of this company? Like, why do we exist? And what are our big picture plans? From there, we then drilled down to say, okay, here are our goals and objectives. What's the priority? So I think with the action plan that I have received from the business coach, I mean, it's a checklist. So I have very clear steps that I now need to take, and I need to make sure that anything that I'm doing needs to be the priority for the business, because if I'm spending time doing, let's say, a new chair design, whilst I know that that's not the priority for the business right now. So it's really given me a blueprint of what the next 6 months for this business holds. thanks to the program, and yes, I'm a very happy mentee, and I strongly believe that the actions that I will take moving forward in this business as a result of this inclusive manufacturing program will be significant to the growth of the business and the health of the business. Where the government can support is with the Technical Training College, and also perhaps just a small incentive for that business to help cover the costs of that trainee. Even if it's meeting the costs 50-50, you'll find that people like myself, we're very willing to do our part, to play our role in bringing up the next generation of our workforce. But if the government could step in to assist with that, I think that they would find us to be very willing partners, and together we could actually grow our manufacturing sector in a profound way, and we could really substantiate this Buy Kenya, Build Kenya ideal that we have. If you're passionate about something and you're driven and you know you can contribute positively to whatever chosen field that you're in, then go ahead and do it, and you will be rewarded.
Just heard right there. Just allow me to read just 2 comments before we get into the quick roundup. I have 1G saying, to begin with, I think it's good to understand what business compliance is. Definitely, and 1G, we believe you'll be able to get that. And someone else by JA in Kisumu is saying, how can the government ensure that the number of SMEs increase each and every day? We'll find out. And of course, we have government representatives here. So at this moment, I want to invite our panelists. They are right here in the house. And of course, starting us off, I want to invite Mr. John Kabwe. And Mr. John Kabwe will take the stage, and I'll ask him just a couple of questions in 60 seconds, which we're calling the quick fire round. Mr. John Kabwe, if you could kindly take the podium. And I just want to quickly do a quick round with you, and so if my team is there to help me with timing. So John Kabwe is right here, and so Mr. John Kabwe, I want to send in some questions, and your 60 seconds begin now. So you work a lot with SMEs, and my question is, what is the first and most prominent question that you come across every time you're addressing such people?
Thank you. I think first of all, I want to appreciate the opportunity to be here. Yes. First of all, one of the questions that I hear mostly is, yes, I am doing my manufacturing in a backyard. Yes. Do I need a standardization mark? That is one of the questions that I hear.
Okay.
Of course, one of the questions I ask this person is, do you want to take the product to the market?
Okay.
They tell me yes. Then I tell them, yes, you require to have a standardization mark, because that is the only way to make this product available in the market.
That's a key question to so many others. The second question is, are imported products subjected to the same rules and regulations?
Yes, thank you. Imported products, we have a program for imported products. We have a program called pre-export verification of conformity. Yes. That is undertaken by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Yes. And this program inspects and tests, okay, and approves product to come to the market.
Okay. Thank you so much. The 60 seconds are over. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I appreciate it with a clap. Please, if you can, please take a seat right here. Next is the Kenya Revenue Authority, right in the house, and we have Ms. Lena Olum representing the Kenya Revenue Authority, Chief Manager Policy and Tax Advisory. Ms. Lena, if you could kindly take the stage. And of course, the same question. One quick one. What is the one question that you see every SME coming to you with every time they hear you are KRA?
I think the biggest question is, why do I have to pay tax and it's so punitive and my business is still small?
Yeah.
Yes, and the answer is that because we all need to give our fair rate, pay our fair rate of tax to the government to make sure that you can finance our agenda, development and recurrent expenditure of the government.
Wow, lovely there. We still have about 38 seconds now. June is a very bad month. Sorry to say that for most SMEs. Why? Because they have to get accounts ready and all that and declare them to you What are you doing to simplify the process so that it can be even at the click of a button?
So our processes are fully automated, I'd say that, in terms of filing, payment of taxes, and even registration for tax purposes. So we enable you to file your return from the comfort of your home or even from the comfort of your offices by automation. And even for the smaller economies, we even have now what we call an M-service. So you can even file through a mobile app on your phone. So we have simplified the tax filing processes significantly.
Thank you. Just on time. Thank you so much for that. I have 2 more questions I'll ask you later on in the panel. Please have a seat. Let's appreciate her with a clap as well. And of course, the people who are online, you can always throw in a thumbs up or something of that sort. Now, we have NEMA in the house and represented is Ms. Anastasia Vialu. Please take the stage. National Environmental Management Authority, Senior Compliance and Enforcement Officer. Please take the stage as well. And of course, many questions as well with regards to compliance with NEMA regulations. And so, Ms. Anastasia Vialu, if you could get set because your 60 seconds starts now. First question is, what is the common question that you face with SMEs every time they come and they're seeking regulations from you?
Thank you for that question. Yeah. The first question from where I sit is on people that want to start their businesses. They would like to know the licenses or the permits they need to get from the National Environment Management Authority. And usually the first license that facilities required to get is the Environmental Impact Assessment license.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Quick question, second question as well. Are there incentives for SMEs that are embracing recycling or, circular methods of, the circular economy that we're talking about? Are there incentives from your end?
Yeah, I will say that there are incentives because when it comes to the starting or the preliminary licensing, that is the environmental impact assessment license, we have already waived the fees that we used to charge as an authority. We have also digitized the process so that it becomes easy for them to comply. We have also revised our EIA period from the previous 30 days to 5 days. That is for the SMEs. Okay. That is for the summary project report. Yeah. We have also revised down from the 90 days to 60 days. That is for study project reports. Okay. And from 30 days to 21 days for the comprehensive projects report. Thank you.
Thank you. You overshot a little bit. We shall have more conversations on that. Please have a seat next here to the person. I want to invite the Competition Authority of Kenya as well, representative, and we have Mr. Arnold Okan in the house. Mr. Arnold Okan, karibu sana. Please take the stage. All right, Mr. Arnold, looking very sharp and ready.
Thank you.
Your 60 seconds begins now, and so my question to you is this: what is also the one question that you face anytime you tell people you are in the Competition Authority of Kenya? What do they ask you?
Most people ask what really constitutes unfair dealing among businesses. Okay. There are certain conducts which are restricted as per the law, which are not allowed. These are restricted trade practices that once the authority catches a glimpse of, actually takes certain measures to ensure that they are not continued.
Fair enough. Unfair advantages of imports. What are you doing about it?
The authority does recognize that up to 10% of imports is significant in the market, but also the authority recognizes that there's a number of investments which are made behind imports, be it in the distribution network, be it in the marketing of these imports. Okay. So in as much as all that is factored in, it's only when there's certain restricted trade practice instances that occur that the authority actually comes in and actually ensures that that is curtailed.
Excellent. One more question. How does one channel a complaint?
We've automated our systems. You can channel your complaints online. You can channel your complaints through calls. You can come to the offices. We'll receive you anytime.
Time is up. Thank you so much. Very well answered. Thank you. And of course, finally, we have the Kenya Industrial Property Institute KIPI representative, and that is none other than Miss Evelyn Apio. She's right here. So, Miss Evelyn, if you could kindly take this stage as well. Thank you so much for really coming. Ms. Evelyn Apio is a legal officer at KIPI. Now, Ms. Evelyn, your 60 seconds begin now as well. And the one question that you face every time you're addressing SMEs, what is it?
I think one of the common questions we get is on the process of registration. Okay. And one of the problems we have is the distinction between what a patent and a trademark is and the elements that we protect under the Industrial Property Act.
Okay.
And yes, so we explain that and explain the process of registration.
Okay.
And of course, one of the very great ones is why we left the Kiondo to go away.
Yeah.
I think we will be discussing much more about that in the panel discussion.
All right. Okay, please quickly tell us any awareness programs that you have for SMEs to reach out and get to know?
Yes, we have, one of our mandates is to give intellectual property information. So we have an outreach department, and we have SMEs programs all around the regions.
Yeah.
We had one last year. We did the former provisional regions that we had, paid everything for the SMEs to just come and learn how they can protect their industrial property.
Thank you so much. Please have a seat right here at the edge. Ladies and gentlemen, you had it. That was a powerful introduction on a quick fire, so you can just get to know who we have here. They have all the answers. In fact, time is what is not on our side. But I just want to let you know that I've spent quite a number of time every Friday with SMEs, and the concerns. Anytime we ask what are the challenges you face it, you will hear them speak it out. And at this particular time, I just want to introduce one. And they also teach you a lot of things, by the way, because SMEs in a way have to craft ways of, let me use the word survival. As we had, most of them don't celebrate their second birthday, but we want them to celebrate decades of their birthdays as well and anniversaries as well. So I want us to take a look at a video, one of the guys that I hosted, and he taught me this lesson. Take a listen.
Ones. I'm sure you have one or two. Yeah, for me I'm sure you have one or two. Yeah, for me it's purely one. It's just one. Yeah. Kaizen. Keep small incremental improvements. Yeah. Wait, so Kaizen? Yeah. Is that an English word? No, it's okay. Yeah, because I was like, hey, what's up? What's up now? Not come across that. It's a Japanese word that means constant slow improvements in what you're doing. Wow. Continue. You'll never find anyone who knows everything about everything. Yeah. Start where you are, start with what you have, the knowledge you have, start and improve slowly until you get it right. Yeah. Goodness. Kaizen. Yeah. Kaizen, my people. You're only giving tips here. Do what you love,
Well, I think that's so important, especially in entrepreneurship, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, the minute it gets hard, and as sure as the sun will rise tomorrow in the east, it's going to get hard. So you must just do what you love, because that's where your flow comes from.
Okay.
Yes, taxation is one of the biggest problems that we are undergoing in this country.
Absolutely.
Not just for small businesses, but all businesses. And every year with the budgets changing, finance law changing, you can be slapped with different things that show up you hadn't planned for, and they affect your investment plans.
Absolutely.
So taxation is one of the biggest challenges we are going through in this country, and it's affecting how businesses then build their plans sustainably.
Absolutely.
But for SMEs, we've come up with a matrix where we look at the different sectors and the taxation challenges, whether it's excise duties, like for sources. I know, a lot of SMEs struggle, and that's why some of them hide and, they don't necessarily go formal, because when they go formal, they can't really even start the business.
True.
You imagine, he's saying here he needs 350 to start. He has not even bought his sources. He has not even, he's still trying to test the products in the market.
Absolutely.
And we are aware that that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
And we are already doing, we are collecting information, and he's free to share that with Kam.
Yeah.
What are the different things that he's being asked to produce or to pay for as a result of his products? What are those products? So that we go to government and say, look, this is a startup. Does a startup need to pay this? In fact, we are also lobbying to have a waiver of taxes for 3 years for a startup.
Wish you could do that, sorry. If you can do that.
Space to innovate and space to test within the relevant standards, and we welcome KEBS and others to support with this startup problem, because this ecosystem needs to be very supportive of an SME.
There you have it. There you have it. Some just comments from some of our SMEs that we've had in the house, and sometimes even people who are representing bodies like the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, really seeing what they do to really help SMEs. And just to welcome you once again, because I feel like the solutions will be here, right here, because all the bodies represented in terms of what we call compliance are right here. And just to remind our viewers that, remember, you can now ask any question. They are here, they are in the house, ready to answer all your questions. I just want to pick from what Mr. Jobu just mentioned, and let me throw this question to our KRA representative, that's Len. You know, are there incentives that are there for SMEs? And by this I'm talking about tax breaks, especially for the startups. Is there something about to come? Is there something in the kitchen that we're about to see? Because SMEs are asking and they're ready to start every day.
Thank you so much. So in terms of SMEs, as has been said here since the beginning of this session, this is a sector that the government is very keen on supporting. And we understand the challenges they're going through, especially from a tax perspective. So while I may not say that there are direct incentives, there is different provisions within the tax laws that will support the SMEs. For example, you have a simplified tax regime for small businesses, what we call the turnover tax. So why this is simplified is because this is a tax that is based on your turnover. And what we recognize, especially for the informal sector, they're not able to comply the way the large businesses would in terms of keeping of records and having the kinds of accounts that you require to determine your tax. So we have a simplified regime that is just a percentage, 1% of your turnover. And this one then will cover persons whose turnover range between 1 million shillings and 50 million shillings in a particular year of income, what you call your year of income, which can be a calendar year, what you have selected. So that is one of the regimes that we have. We also have various exemptions within the tax laws. For example, we have one that is very key that I think would say affect the SMEs. It's called the Ajira Digital Program. And this is because we are realizing how businesses are moving towards a digital economy, and we are trying to support the youth who are getting to the digital program. And they have a tax incentive. They're actually exempted from tax for the first 3 years that they are operating within this program that is, I think, financed by the Ministry of ICT. It's run by the Ministry of ICT. And we also have exemptions for the manufacturing sector in terms of inputs that they use in their businesses for VAT. So there are various exemptions that are cut across within the tax statutes that even though will not be specifically for SMEs, SMEs can enjoy them.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you mentioned about various laws. I'm sorry, I've really started on you. My other question is, does the law in any way allow tax holidays, especially for startups who are just starting? Is there something like that, or is it in the kitchen?
We have tax holidays for sectors like if you're operating in the export processing zone. So if you're operating in the export processing zone for the first 10 years, you operate without any taxes, any corporation tax on your income. Also, if you're operating in the special economic zone, what we have are lower corporate tax rates. So for example, you'll suffer 10% in the first 10 years. The next 10 years you suffer, let's say 15%, and then after that is when you go to the top level of 30%. We also have tax holidays for specific sectors like the housing. So because one of the government's agenda is to ensure affordable housing. So they also get a lower corporation tax rate when they're setting up and when they're starting their business, just so they can encourage the construction of houses. Yes.
All right. That's fair enough, but we hope we can enlarge that entire scope so that many other SMEs that are starting up as well can enjoy the holidays. And we surely hope that can really come through. Let me get to you, John, who of course representing CAMS here. And just to enlighten people, what programs have been put in place to support SMA compliance? Are there any programs that you have put in place?
Thank you. The Kenya Bureau of Standards really supports the growth of SMEs. And could be one of some of the programs that we have put in place. One is we do a lot of trainings. We have simple trainings like on quality management systems. If somebody wants to implement a quality management system in their factory, we bring these people together so that we can train on them. We also other trainings on issues like good manufacturing practices, those in the food, in the feed, in chemical manufacturing. So we have this program for training. Also, I think the other kind of support that we are giving to the SMEs is that we have subsidized rates in terms of certification fees. where a manufacturer is an SMEs, when they come to us to the Kenya Bureau of Standard, they want to seek for certification for 3 products that they want to certify, to have certified or placed in the market. They're going to be charged only 5,800 shillings. So for the first 3 commodities. So meaning that's a very substantial because you can realize testing has been taken care of, inspection fee has been taken care of. So we think that 5,000 shillings is quite fair enough for them just to pay for the 3 products they can take to the market.
No, I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that you say you think as a body that that's fair. I would want you to extend that to the viewers outside there. Is it a fair amount? What do you think are your thoughts? But from where we sit, from where John sits, they feel it has been subsidized in a way. Let me extend the same question as well to NEMA. And I just want to ask the same questions. Are there any programs to support compliances for SMEs? That's to Ms. Anastasia.
Thank you for that question. I would say that as an authority, we have started a compliance promotion program in which we educate the facilities or the facility owners on the ways to improve their compliance with the environmental regulations and assist them on how, where they have areas of non-compliance on what can be done. And I would say that the authority is keen on facilitating sustainable development. And on that issue, we have the environmental impact assessment fees that were waived. This is now the 5th year since the EIA fees were waived. And that is to facilitate most of the facilities to comply with that regulation, is to enable them to have an environment that facilitates compliance. In that EIA regulations, we have also looked at the processing period that we used to have before. We used to have 30 days to process an EIA license, but now we have reviewed them down through a legal notice to small to medium projects, 5 days, then large projects that require a comprehensive report, 30 days, and those study reports that for very big projects like road construction, they now take 60 days for us to process. This is to ensure that everyone is in a position to comply. We have also decentralized most of our licensing to the counties so that they can be near to the mwananchi. We have also ensured that we have digitized our operations, most of the licenses, so that it can be easy for the applicants to apply and access the licenses. Those are the promotion, the compliance promotion that we are on currently. Thank you.
I was very specific, especially, and I like the scope that you've given it, and I've heard you talk about the subsidies that you're trying to, I think you used the word waiver, but specifically, especially for SMEs that are in-house represented, are there certain waivers that are directed, especially for, startups, the SMEs that are there, and you know what I'm talking about, definitely.
Oh, currently, I would say that there are no specific waiving for the SMEs, okay. But we have in our current strategic plan, yes. We have resort areas, we have key resort areas on circular economy, okay. And green economy that is going to take consideration of such projects. Thank you.
I love that. I love that there's a strategic plan and there is hope for some level of subsidy coming in, definitely coming from the feedback that we're getting even from the research that was done. Let me get to the Kenya Industry Property Institute. And my question is, what's the process of registering an IP address in Kenya, first of all, the trademark and patent, including the time taken to do that?
Thank you very much. As I earlier stated, I think it's very important for us to see that there are several, we handle several portfolios, meaning we handle patents, we handle trademarks, we handle industrial designs, utility models. So all of them have different processes. I would say what the MSMEs or SMEs are more familiar with are trademarks, what we call the brand names. It is about 12,000 for the whole process.
Just pause there. I understand there's going to be a sound change, so you will use that microphone. And maybe you can shoot the question again, the process of just registering an IP in Kenya, trademark and patents, and time and probably mention us on the cost implementation of it.
So I see we have different portfolios in industrial property.
Yeah.
So we protect patents, trademarks, industrial designs, and utility models.
For what is more familiar with SMEs is trademarks. That takes is 12,000 for a local applicant. And if you're paying in dollars, if you're a foreigner, then you pay in dollars. So that is one of the incentives we have.
Okay.
12,000 for 10 years.
Yeah.
And trademarks can be renewed indefinitely. So for consecutive 10 years.
Yeah.
We also have patents, which are now innovations. If you're coming up with something totally new,
Yeah.
the process is about 14,000. So you can see the fees are very minimal.
Yes.
People think it's very expensive, and this is for 20 years.
Okay.
For a patent, generally, after the 20 years, it falls back to the public domain, so anyone else can use it. But the incentive is you use it exclusively for 20 years,
Okay.
and of course, paying renewal fee up to the 20th year.
All right. Allow me to stick to you and even send you the second question, because I think it's in line with that.
No problem.
Thanks for that process, the 20 years that it takes as well to own it. So my question is this. Please adhere to SMEs, because some people really say, why do I have to really pay this 14K for this? What's the importance of it? What's the importance of ensuring that IP protection through registration of trademarks and patents?
I think one of the most important reasons why we register is that you have exclusive rights, meaning you remove everyone else, and anyone who has to use your property then has to ask for permission. And permission, in many aspects, is monetary.
Yeah.
So it means that you either license or you sell to the person who wants to use it. That's very important. The second part is that a certificate of registration is prima facie proof. It means it's sufficient. When you go to a court of law and someone is infringing on your mark or your patent, you take a certificate from our office. We don't need any further proof. It shows that you are the owner.
Yeah.
So that is very vital. It shows the date of registration when you filed, so you don't have to go into the honors of proving that I came into the market first, or when did I, showing receipts, and when you conceptualize the idea.
Yeah.
That certificate gives you proof that is sufficient in a court of law for you to be able to compete out in the market. I think that's one of the very vital reasons why you should protect your industrial property.
Very important and very key, as you have said, so that at least people don't just infringe on your originality or what you have come up with as a business person. I'll be coming back to you and ask you questions about whether you have special packages for SMEs and those kind of things later on. But let me get to the Competition Authority of Kenya, because it's quite in line. I feel there's a very nice super package that SMEs will buy in once they have come from KIPI, then come to CAK as well. And so my question to you as well is quite similar as well. Protection mechanism for SMEs in a competitive landscape. What are you doing about that to ensure that they are protected as well?
Okay, the key thing is...
I just want us to begin hear him well. Excellent, go ahead, sir.
Okay, the key thing is mostly the regulation of the market. That's the regulation of the market structure and conduct. What we look at in this aspect is when I'm saying of regulation of market structure, I'm looking at mergers and acquisitions. Okay, so what we have for SMEs is in terms of thresholds. SMEs below certain threshold when it comes to mergers are normally automatically excluded. You find that they don't really have to notify. And these are SMEs that are below 500 million in terms of turnover. So other than that, any business which is now between 500 million going forward now needs to apply to the authority to either be excluded or be allowed to merge. Now when it comes to restricted trade practices, there are certain conducts which are not allowed in the market. These conducts actually limit production. This conduct end up fixing prices and things like that. What the authority has done is that under certain circumstances, you find that players in the economy need to communicate. So under such circumstances, such conduct, if they apply for an exemption, they're given an opportunity to at least coordinate themselves in such a way that is within the exemption parameters and at the same time is not considered as offending the law. Further, the authority has also gotten into the buyer power arena, where you find a number of SMEs who supply, a number of retailers, and a number of other suppliers have been significantly impacted the past few years. So what the authority has gotten and done is try and create a climate where their grievances can be addressed. I can give an example, the number of SMEs who actually work in line with the insurance industry. You find the services that they provide for the insurance industry are really greatly being impacted in terms of delayed payments and things like that. These ones are now got an avenue of actually complaining, and we work hand in hand with the IRA in terms of an MOU we have with them, so that at least these SMEs are able to bring their grievances to us and we are able to address them. This also goes all the way to the other SMEs who supply products in other retail setups.
Lovely, and I love that. You know, when I sit here thinking in the SME mind, Competition Authority of Kenya, from where you sit, the question will be this: what do you constitute an efficient market that is fair play?
An efficient market is a market which there are no barriers for people to conduct their businesses. And when I'm talking about barriers, I'm talking about barriers which are created through conduct of other players in the market. These have got the ability of limiting production. Someone would come in and ensure that they are positioned in such a way that everyone else must deal through them. Some you find are already dominant in the market. What the authority's position is when it comes to dominance or buyer power is that having buyer power or having a dominant position is not an offense per se. But there are certain conducts that once you have this dominance or you have buyer power, you are not supposed to be engaging in. So once we realize that you're engaging in these conducts, then at least there are certain penalties that we are able to impose. But prior to that, we have to do investigations. We have to go through a series of we look at through some evidences or complaints which have been presented to us in order to actually ascertain whether someone has buyer power or has dominance, and if they've conducted themselves in such a way that is not permitted within them.
Thank you so much, Arnold, and we believe it's going to be soon even way better, isn't it? As you've put it across. Let me get back to our tax lady in the house. My question to you as well is, what products, especially for SMEs that are producing a lot of this, what products from where you see it are subject to excise tax? Because you mentioned it even in your proceedings. What products are they?
Excise tax is governed under the Excise Duty Act. And traditionally, excise tax was what we call a sin tax. So it was levied on items that were deemed to be harmful to, it was imposed on products that were deemed to be harmful to the society. For example, alcohol, cigarettes, and the like. But over time, of course, with the government needing to raise revenue, we have expanded the scope of what is subject to excise duty. So currently, it is still applicable to alcoholic beverages, cigarettes. You'll find it on fuel products. You'll find it on also non-alcoholic beverages like juices and sodas. Again, we still consider those are harmful to health one way or another. So we're also trying to get revenue from there so that we can finance the health sector for when you go to the hospital with diabetes. And also on services now, since I think from around 4 or 5 years ago, we have excise tax applying to products like airtime, internet, certain financial services, like for example, the fees that are charged on some financial services will be subject to excise tax. So generally, those are the products that you will see that will suffer excise tax currently under the law.
And I just want to prompt our viewers that if you have any question on what products are being taxed, please feel free. The tax lady is in the house representing especially what we need to ask in matters taxes. Let me get to Kebs a little bit, and I'll be getting to the comments and the questions to the viewers who are there. And I just wanted you to take us quickly through the procedures for applying for a new product standard and the cost, because as you had it, SMEs will start this and then they feel, oh my goodness, I am doing peanut butter. Maybe I could do a sesame as well butter, you know. What do I need to do so that Kebs will allow me to go ahead?
Sure, thank you. for an SME to apply or to place that product in the market, the law under the Standards Act, that is the Standards Act Cap 496, the laws of Kenya, requires that this manufacturer, maybe an SME, need to notify Kenya Bureau of Standards. That is how you get a license. Notifying, so in terms of notification, this SME, whatever product they want to manufacture, they will make an application by completing some certain forms. We call them STA1 forms. This is a form just to tell us what commodity are you manufacturing, what is the brand name, and also to get to know what is the standard against which that product you are manufacturing, so that we can be able to evaluate that product when we come for assessment. So basically, it's just to make an application. Of course, if you are a new manufacturer, you also need to also submit to us your KRA PIN, your certificate of registration, if you are a company, or business name registration. So you realize that even a manufacturer, an SME who doesn't have a company, incorporated company, as long as you have a registered business name, then we can allow you to register or to come to us and apply for a standardization mark. That makes it simple because that each person will be able to apply for that. Then thereafter, the other thing that we require this person to do is that when they make that application or they submit the application forms, is that there is a fee that is required to be paid. And this is why I said that for the first 3 products that you want to do manufacturing on, the commodity, whether it's a food product, it's a feed, whether it's a chemical product, the fee is 5,800 shillings for 1 year. And then thereafter, so we'll come and do an inspection. Thereafter, we'll come and do a testing. We come visit your factory because we want to come and see where you manufacturing and what are the facilities. What do you have in place? What controls do you have in terms of raw materials? We want to know what raw materials are you using. So that is why we come and do an inspection at the facility where you're manufacturing from. Then we are going to draw samples and subject them for evaluation. And this evaluation is based on a Kenya standards. So basically, could be the beginning for any manufacturer outside there is to ask themselves, or an SME, is the commodity that I want to manufacture, is there a Kenya standard that covers that commodity? And if this is the Kenya standard, how do I comply with it? So that you can set your facility or the place where you're doing it, so that to meet those requirements. So basically, it's an application. There's a fee. Then thereafter, there is an inspection that is supposed to be done, a testing that is supposed to be done, and the fee for testing has already been absorbed because we don't charge you any other test. And thereafter, there is a certification decision that is going to be taken based on the compliance report that have been filed by our officers when they come on the ground. Because they'll be looking at the process, they will also be looking at the test report, and thereafter a permit is issued that is going to run for 2 years.
Okay, thank you, John, for that. And certainly we need to have certified products in the market, as you say. And, you know, I want us to get a bit practical here, ladies and gentlemen, because there is somebody who's watching and they're saying, I'm about to start, you know, maybe manufacturing something. I like using the example of peanut butter because I think that's one quick one that is you know, people can easily start up, you know. But before I get there, I want to ask a second question as well, since I've asked everybody else a question, to NEMA. And we want to talk about your licensing and the cost that comes with it. So, you know, what are the business licenses that you need to give, permits required for SMEs?
Thank you for that question. I would say that the first license SME would be required to obtain is what we call the Environmental Impact Assessment License. And this one is after submission of an Environmental Impact Assessment report. This report is compiled, or this is done by experts who are registered by NEMA, but they practice as consultants. So on the Environmental Impact Assessment, NEMA has licensed, has increased the number of experts, because the cost of consulting or the cost of compiling the environmental impact assessment is not fixed. So the increase or the growth in the pool of experts has facilitated the negotiation capacity so that they are not as exorbitant or as exploitative as before. So this is one way of facilitating the licensing. Then after the environmental impact assessment license, the project is expected to commence and continue.
Yes.
After 1 year of implementing that project, our facility will be required to undertake what we call environmental audit. This is to assess whether the mitigation measures proposed in the first report are adequate enough or there is need for more mitigation measures. So based on the kind of operations, a facility may be required to obtain what we call water quality license or effluent discharge license. That is for facilities that generate wastewater, and this is to assess if the wastewater meets the permissible levels for it to be discharged to the environment. Then again, based on the kind of operation, they'll be required to get what we call emission license. This is for facilities that emit or generate gaseous emissions, just to make sure that whatever emissions they are discharging meets the acceptable levels for different parameters.
All right.
I would say that there are a number of there are other licenses based on the operations.
All right, I like that. It is based on operations. And my quick question, which needs a quick answer, is this. Does every SME, for example, the one I gave as an example, somebody at home has decided to just make a few things and wants to call KEBS. Now, when they call you, do they need a license from you as well?
Someone at home or someone working on a
Maybe somebody
small scale.
on their backyard, they are starting to do some peanut butter. Do they need to call you?
Well, they might. If they call, they are packaging their peanut butter in plastic bags. Or there are some involvement with the plastic bags. So when they call, then they'll be required to do the application, which is online. After this clearance for plastic packaging for primary packaging is free. So every SME is expected to comply just in case they would like to use the plastic packaging.
Did you say it is free, the
Yes.
clearance?
Yes, it is free.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. In fact, that's the question that I had reserved for you, and it's good that you brought it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get to some of the comments that we have from the reactions that you have given in, because they're coming in thick and fast. But I want us to get practical after those comments, and I want us to do a quick sum up, because the house is 360 here. Maybe Kerry is the one that comes later on, after you've made some money later on. But how much would it cost? And I think, let's stick to my example. I want to start I have an amazing backyard. I'll be using plastic bags as well. And I need KEBS certification. I need the competition authority to tell me, yes, good to go, you know, everything is fine, and KIPI as well, you know, all that. I want to do the costing so that when I go, I can tell my peanut guy, you know what, this is what you will need. This is the amount you need for you to get started. And then we'll reason out and say, this is a good fair amount, or maybe we need to increase it higher or go low. You know, I just want to be very neutral on that. Let me get to some of the comments, and of course I'll be getting to the Zoom as well. I've seen them flowing in. Let me read out as they come. I think I'll start with the Twitter conversations going on here. That lower taxes provide incentives, timely tax refunds, and eliminate red tape in the licensing process. Oh, by the way, if it touches on you, it means you may need to make a comment on that. So this is Daniel Warui saying that lower taxes provide incentives, timely tax refunds, and eliminate red tape in the licensing process. The licenses required to start manufacturing in Kenya cannot fit in a billboard on Thika Road. I don't know what you have to say, but let me start with you. Where do I start now? I think I'll start with KRA. What do you have to say about that, quickly?
We all want to pay low taxes, but I think it's a delicate balancing act for the government.
Yes.
Just to find a middle ground.
Yeah.
So remember last year during the COVID, the peak of the COVID period, the government actually acknowledged this and reduced the tax rates for a lot of us.
Absolutely.
And while some of these were reversed at the end of the year, we still maintained The one for the informal sector, the turnover tax that I said, it went down from 3% to 1%, and it is still that.
Okay.
Also, what we have for the personal relief for individuals, that was also increased at that point.
Yes.
Previously, if you were earning, let's say, up to around 12 or 13,000, you already got into the tax bracket. The government increased that level to now at 24,000. So that is still there. And the issue of timely refunds, again, I agree. Timely refunds is important to business, and that is something that we are working on. We have had engagements with Kam on this on and on again. And in our corporate plan, the 8th corporate plan that was just released recently, what we have committed to is to, in the next 3 years, to reduce the period within which we process refunds. Currently, we are operating at 90 days, which is what is given in the law to process the refunds. We are looking to go down from that to 75 days in the second year of the corporate plan, and finally to 60 days. Of course, this depending on availability of funding from the government, but the National Treasury is very committed to making sure that they give us money to give back to the, especially manufacturing sector are key players in terms of refunds. Because their products usually, because of government incentives, result in them getting tax refunds. And we are working on reducing the time within which we process those refunds and pay it back to them so that their cash flow is not affected.
Excellent, thanks for that. And I really hope that refund, especially the refund part of it, that one needs to be ironed completely. Arnold, let me throw this to you because you're one of the licensees. And yes, they cannot fit on a billboard or thick road, all these licenses to start a manufacturing in Kenya. What's your comment on that?
Fortunately, I don't think there's no fee that you pay at the authority in order to start your own small business.
Okay.
Unless it's a major transaction. Let's say
Are you already preempting the question that I'll ask later on? So yours is zero, but go ahead.
Unless it's a major transaction, there's some considerations we should set. So you find unless the business involves a turnover beyond a billion shillings, is when now the charges start coming in. Anything below that, between 500 million to a billion, is just considered an exclusion. And anything below 500 million is not even, it's not mandatory to be brought to the authority for approval.
Okay. Thanks for that. Fair enough. And I think you spoke on behalf of the other licensees now. You know, the question here from Wamboi is saying that she was actually even agreeing with Shiro, who spoke here, that, you know, the cost of acquiring licenses for a startup are very high, making it difficult for small enterprises. And, you know, that's the question that I want us to make practical, because we're going to look at the cost completely. You already said yours is zero. Okay, but definitely there must be a cost somewhere. We will dig deeper and see. But anyway, you're here to really tell us more. Let me look at another comment here. I think Sir Emmanuel is saying this. Lower tax, oh goodness, tax. Lower tax on farm inputs and also support and motivate our own farmers by buying their farm produce at good prices. This will motivate them to produce more for processing and exports too. An industry without raw materials has no advantage, hence no competition. Competition authority. But let me throw that to Key because it also touches on them. Do you have a comment on that? I mean, yeah, they were just talking about, you know, lowering the cost and the tax. Maybe I should actually just address it to you because, you know, it's purely about competition at the end of it all. It just, what would you say on that? Quick one. The lowering the cost of raw materials. Let me just read it as it is. Lower tax on farm inputs and also support. I think this is a farmer definitely talking about it. So, but we're generally looking at what they're talking about in the general look at the SMEs. So lower tax on farm inputs and also support and motivate our own farmers by buying their produce at good prices. This will motivate them to produce more for processing and exports too. So you can see they're trying to also give a comment on what they feel would have been done. An industry without raw materials has no advantage, hence no competition. Do you agree? Do you not agree with that?
I agree.
You agree?
Actually, the authority comes into play when there's something substantial affecting prices in the market.
Yeah.
We are not there as price regulators. That went with an old era. But the authority comes into play when there's something significant impacting prices, which has been brought about by either a restricted trade practice out there in the environment. So whenever the authority picks that one up, it ensures that that one is well sorted out, so that at least the prices are what the market should be reflecting. That will in turn end up to these inputs having a fair price for everyone to make whatever it is they want to make with them.
Excellent. Let me get to some of the Zoom questions here, and there's one on NEMA. I'd like to understand if NEMA issues clearance certificates to individuals to rear birds, such as quails, in an apartment. I am asking this because I had a neighbor who was rearing quails in an apartment. I think now we get it. Somebody was rearing there. Do you give permits? You know, quails was a big business.
But in this case, rearing quails or birds in an apartment is out of character. So we don't license out of character projects. For a project to be licensed, it has to be in keeping with the existing land use.
Okay.
Thank you.
So at least you ensure that is happening, because I also had another friend of mine who told me to ask NEMA, because somebody in their apartment is rearing dogs and they're complaining, smell and all those kind of things, and they might need help. And I think it is encompassed in that question. So do you also license that? Because he's watching and he's asked me to ask that question.
We don't license that.
Okay.
What we license when it comes to, I would say that is livestock or animal, it is large scale. And of course, large scale cannot be done in a residential setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think going in line, there's a question for Carrie here. Why do you charge excise on water and it should be affordable to the poor?
If you look at the water that is subject to tax is bottled water. So the reasoning for that is it was one of the ways that the government thought to control the quality of the water that is sold to the wananchi.
Okay.
So excise duty then came in because under the excise duty, for you to implement, you have to be licensed, which means you have to have a factory that you're aware of, a factory that is certified by KEBS and other bodies to ensure that what is being produced there is of good quality.
Okay.
So excise duty then came as a means of dealing with that. So it was not just to raise revenue because we wanted to hurt wananchi, but also to make sure that what the quality of the water that the wananchi are getting is actually also very good.
Okay.
And also the rate of excise duty on bottled water is very low. I think it's around 50 cents. Yes, it is very low because we understand that it is something that is a basic need.
Okay,
yeah.
There you have it. That is to Ann Kibathi. Now, there's another question as well to KEBS. Of course, thanking the panelists here. Can the process of registration be shortened? Wow. What's your answer? Go ahead.
Yeah, can the process of registration get shortened?
Yes.
I think what we are trying in Kenya Bureau of Standards, we have done some commitments to our customers. And we said that we are going to certify when you come and make an application at the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Within 15 working days, you should come and do an inspection at your place. Of course, thereafter, after inspection is done and the samples are drawn, of course, that is only after you have submitted complete documents, because sometimes somebody will just come in, maybe drop a document, and then it's not fully maybe completed. But when you have completed all the documentation, we say 15 days, working days, will come and do an inspection. We have a testing period also, if there's a commodity that will require laboratory testing. We have a TAT that you have given for testing, which is the 21 days, that TAT. And thereafter, of course, there is also the other decision taking in terms of certification that will take some, maybe 1 week. So basically, on the higher side, what we have committed ourselves, we are saying within 56 days, we should have certified your product.
Okay.
But this is not, we are continuing to improve our processes. And this, one of the things that we have done, re-engineering our processes, is one, we have looked at what are some of the challenges that had been making us have delayed certification processes. And we discovered testing of our commodities was taking an extra time. So what Kenya Bureau has done is that we have recognized other laboratories in the country. If you, any manufacturer outside there as an SME, if you go to our website of an organization called KENAS, KENAS is Kenya National Accreditation Services. Is a parastatal, is an agency under the Ministry of Industrialization. They do what we call approval or registration of laboratories that are implementing what we call systems that are meeting requirement for accreditation of laboratories. Okay. So a manufacturer can go to any of these laboratories and access the testing services, and then submit that test report to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And then the 21 days that we are talking about, this will have been shortened because Kenya Bureau of Standards will use that to make a decision, a certification decision.
So the longer process is definitely the lab test that comes along with that.
No, it's just one of the testing. Yeah. Then the other issue we are saying, if you have other systems of certification, like if I'm a food manufacturer, and we have even SMEs that are manufacturing food, but they are practicing what we call HACCP, that is Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point programs for food safety. So we are saying they have an advantage because they have a way of evaluating their products. So based on that system now, KEBS will look at what system they have in place, what compliance they have in place, and that shortens the process of certification. So basically, that's our desire in order for us to make sure that we are prompt in terms of giving certification. But I think I wanted to say something that is critical.
Yes.
That sometimes certification in Kenya, as somebody said, is said to have been expensive. And but I also wanted to look at what are some of the advantages maybe these people will be having in terms of certified products. And one of the things that the government has done, the government of Kenya, under the EAC, that is East African Community region, is there is something called mutual recognition of marks. Meaning, if your commodity in Kenya is certified here in Kenya and has been certified, you have an opportunity to market that product to all the 6 East African country states. So meaning you have a wider market, it's going to go outside there without facing any other test. So basically it could be, if we could look at also those advantages, and also the advantage that people have confidence about your product, that you have the knowledge about manufacturing good products. I think could be those are some of the things that we may look as a balance to see what is the importance of this certification. Thank you.
Definitely, it's very important to get certified, as we say. Please, have you done your math? Because I will come to the entire full math there that we are supposed to do. But I had another question here as well from Zoom. I'm starting a business, for example. I am manufacturing food or soap. Am I allowed to do it from my home kitchen? Who should answer this? Nema? Even KEBS?
Yeah, I'll try.
But answer it very shortly. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes, briefly, I mean, yes.
I think it's good to important to understand that in
Kenya we have laws and regulation that regulate manufacturing of food products. There is one of the laws is the Public Health Act, and the Public Health Act. And it requires some certain kind of protocol in the facility that you'll be having. The issue of lighting, the issue of hygiene, the issue of washrooms and such facilities. So basically, as one want to do manufacturing in the backyard, they need to make sure that the public health has looked at their processes and the facility and have given a food hygiene license. So as long as you have the food hygiene license, that backyard means it meeting some good manufacturing practices, and then it can be certified. But ideally, we really want to advise that please set out a place that that can be able to be inspected.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure Nema would have added something there, but maybe if you added something, I'd also want to address this. And I have a question as well that I would want to ask to Nancy. So I think if there could be a mic that will get to Nancy, because there's something about government here, so I'll send it to you as well. But to Nema, and I'm sorry, I'm using now the titles of the organization that you represent because it's directed that way. How much is the environmental impact assessment license? I think that's a very straight answer.
Thank you for that question, and I started by saying that the environmental impact assessment license fee were waived away. That is about 5 years ago.
Good.
So it is for free.
So it's zero now?
Yeah, it is zero cost.
Wow.
Except the consultancy fee that they pay to the consultants who compile the reports.
Oh, there's the consultancy fee for the...
Yes,
for the
that
ones
is
who
not an authority business, it's an outside business.
Okay.
Yes.
So for you who asked that question, you can easily, that is Pauline or Kubasu, you can easily make sure you get affordable people who do that report. It's free. Never doesn't need any money on that. So there's a question to Nancy in the house that there is talks on the made in Kenya products. Oh yeah, there's been a lot of talks happening even in the political scenes. You are the overall government definitely representative here. We have seen several issues affecting this. What are you doing to better local production, especially for SMEs? Of course, in the line with buying made in Kenya products. There's a microphone just next to you. So I hope the question is clear. What are you doing to better this? Can I ask it again? Okay, let me ask it again. Just a quick question here, that there is talks on the made in Kenya products happening around, and we have seen a lot of it trending, especially around. And you, of course, representing the government, we have seen several issues affecting this made in Kenya products. Several issues that have been addressed here. What are you doing to better local production, especially for SMEs?
Okay, thank you. And just like what the panelists have also indicated about addressing those issues, because you realize that the made in Kenya products have to do with the standards, have to do with the pricing and also the marketing. And I think as what they have said in regard to that, there is a lot of consultation and also dialoguing within the agencies. You realize that the ministry is taking the lead into the Buy Kenya products. We have a whole team which is spearheaded from the State Department for Industrialization, and because it gets all these reports on the made in Kenya products, these issues are addressed by the multi-agencies with the coordination of the ministry. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks for that. Fair enough. I think you can have that mic back. So, you know, let me come to Kippy and the Competition Authority. You know, and as I said, I would like to almost come to the tail end of this conversation by getting so practical. If somebody is starting a business, they need to come to you. So for Evelyn, Kippy, tell us the cost that will be there. And I hope somebody in the audience there can do for me, I think Shiro, you can help me with this. You can do for me the competition of the math. I'm just an SME who wants to start. I just want to see how much it will cost me. And we know the incentives that are coming in the near future. So, but let's get practical now. John, okay? So, Kippy, how much are you going to need, Evelyn, from your end?
I had earlier stated it's process-based. Yes. So if you're starting with a trademark, we begin with a search. The search is 3,000 shillings.
3,000 shillings, there you go.
So if it goes through, then you go to the examination part where we now examine it. We pay 4,000 shillings.
4,000 shillings.
Then after that, we advertise. You realize that we give you exclusive rights. So the law mandates us to give public the opportunity to object to whether we are going to register this trademark. Okay. So that takes 60 days. Oh. We publish in our industrial property journal every month. Okay. So, and it's available on our website. Yeah. So people, registered proprietors, are able to go through and check what is about to go to the register. Okay. So that is 3,000 as well. 3,000. That's 3,000, and then certification if you go through. If it doesn't go through, you remember I said the 60-day period is for opposition. Yeah. So then if there's an objection, we begin a whole process internally, which now is administrative, to go through. It's like a court process for us to see whether we are going to register the mark or not. Okay. So you're given a... So the
let's end it at there is no objection.
Okay, so this is basic. So it went through, so the registration fee for the certificate is 2,000. Okay. So I'd say for a trademark, it's 12,000. 12,000. Very reasonable for 10 years. Okay. You're given protection for 10 years. So one time, eh? Yeah, so one time as you go through for patents, such as well, if you ask for. Examination, the filing fee is 3,000 shillings. 3,000. Then you have examination fee, which is 5,000. This is done within 3 years of the application. Okay. Publication fee is 3,000. Okay. The law, again, as I've said, these are exclusive rights. You're given up to 18 months for the public to react and to
to
see
it.
the publication.
Yes.
And now we have amended the law. Out of the outcry of the applicants, you can ask to have it earlier, published earlier than the 18 months.
Excellent.
Then the grant fee is 3,000. So that gets you to roughly 14,000
Yeah.
for a patent. And you see it's very reasonable for 20 years. Again, there'll be annuity fees. As you go, it gets higher. as you realize that these are exclusive rights.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
And definitely it just gives you the exclusivity to just operate as that.
Yes.
So, but I just wanted the beginning stages, which is the 14 for patent and the 12 for just general registration.
Yeah, this is just basic. If everything is going on well.
So from your end, you need 26K from me. Excellent.
Okay, I have other components as well, but I think we'll take the whole day. We have industrial designs.
No worries.
Which are cheaper. Utility models, registration goes like 1,000 shillings.
Okay.
These ones, we call them small patents. If you're improving things that are already invented,
existing. Okay.
you see existing, you're not the one. You see our microphone has revolutionized, isn't it?
Yes.
Now we have lapels.
Yeah.
So finding solutions that
These are things that come on the go.
Yeah, so it becomes cheaper for SMEs. We do not examine utility models. We are trying to encourage innovation. So then you pay a one-off fee, and you can have 10 years of protection again, and you renew.
So the one-off fees is 26 or?
No. Oh. That one is trademarks. I said there are different.
Okay.
There are different aspects depending on what you want to protect.
Okay, for the SMEs then.
For the SMEs. So there's also industrial designs.
Okay.
Very cheap as well.
So for the SMEs, what's the one-off fee that you talked about? You've just mentioned a one-off fee. You pay one-off fee for the SMEs?
No, I said it's process-based.
Oh, it's
so when we
process-based.
calculate all of it, if you go through the whole process for trademark, you'll spend 12,000.
Okay, excellent.
If you go through the whole process of patenting,
okay,
it will go through, as we said, everything remaining constant.
Yeah.
Then you'll pay 14,000.
All right.
Of course, there'll be fees for appointment of an agent. There'll be fees for renewal, for post-registration activities. If you want to change your address, if you want to change, amend, different aspects of the protection, then you pay a small fee. But generally, I've given you the basic fees.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So from where you sit, would I be okay to say it's on average the 26K as a base?
No, do not.
We cannot generalize now because it's dependent
yes, and I'm saying
on the process.
Yes, and it depends on what aspect. So you cannot put them together. If
All
it's
right.
a trademark, it's 12,000.
Fair
Patents,
enough.
yeah, everything is different.
Fair enough. Wow. CAK, Competition Authority, is this also process-based or do you have a one-time fee for SMEs?
One, I think it's important to say we are not licensing agents.
Excellent.
So which means if you want to start your business,
Yes.
there's no cost attached to come to see us.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We do offer advisory opinions.
Yeah.
If you want to be advised on certain aspects of business.
Okay.
We can give you for free.
Yeah.
Now, the only time cost comes in if you are buying an existing business.
Okay.
All right. If that is your mode of entry
Okay.
for a certain business,
Mhm.
buying an existing business.
Yes.
Then now we look at the assets involved or the turnover.
Yeah.
So it's only when something goes above 1 billion in terms of assets and turnover that the charges start.
Wow.
So for an SME to start, I think it's fairly
Okay. And my question is purely today because it's a SME bootcamp. It's purely SME. I think I had Evelyn go to the big guys, so we just SMEs for now, which is good. For NEMA, at least I've had one very nice thing that license is free, which is good. Any cost for an SME, like the ones who are asking here, I want to just start somewhere, all those kind of things. What's the cost from where you sit for an SME?
I would say that our costs are not specific to the SME,
Okay.
as in our cost or our license charges are guided by the regulations.
Yes.
And these are national laws that are to be implemented across.
All right.
So there are no specific regulations for SME per se, but based on the operations, the operations are the ones that will determine the license that one should acquire.
Okay.
But the very initial license is the one I said, the environmental impact assessment license, which is given for free by the authority.
Okay.
On the part of the consultancy fee,
All right.
the authority has ensured that it has licensed so many experts so that when it comes to negotiation, because the cost of the consultants is not fixed,
Okay.
it's based on negotiation.
All
So
right.
the pool has grown
Okay.
to make sure that they don't charge a lot. Again, those experts are licensed without paying anything to the authority.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say for starting,
Yes.
there is no cost from the authority part.
Okay, lovely. So SMEs sort of have a fairer start from NEMA's side. Kebs, why are you looking down? Because you have a cost.
I think I really want to see there is some cost. As I said in the beginning,
yes.
Like when an application is done, one is we receive an application.
Yes.
We say that this application is 5,000.
Yes.
And this is for for the standardization mark permit.
Okay.
Are there other costs? I want to say yes, so that somebody doesn't come and say, yeah,
It was just
it was only 5,000. Because ideally, if you have to manufacture a lotion, a body lotion,
yes,
there is a standard against which you're going to manufacture.
Okay.
There is a Kenya standard that has been documented.
All right.
And of course, the cost of development of standards is quite high.
All right.
So the manufacturers will pay a fee.
All right.
They are required to purchase a Kenya standard because that is what you're going to be based when somebody is coming to inspect.
All right.
And so I was looking at an average. We'll be having like almost every manufacturer will be requiring like 2 standards they're going to purchase from the Kenya Bureau of Standards so that they can, which are going to be the basis of our inspection.
Okay.
And basically I was giving that maybe because of course it depends on the content of the standard, but basically one standard will be like 3,000 on the higher side.
Okay.
So that is 6,000 for the 2 standards.
All right.
That is a one time, meaning even if you are manufacturing for 10 years, as long as that standard has not been reviewed,
yes,
it may remain. So basically it's a small cost. Of course the other cost that may be there is that on a monthly basis, which is also the SME also need to understand. There is what we call a fee a levy that is collected by our counterpart, the KRA, called the standards levy. The standards levy is collected at source through
would it be fair if I say this is also process based as it goes, just the same way that I had from Kipi, Evelyn saying the same thing?
Yes, because this standards levy is also based on maybe your turnovers.
Okay.
Yeah, and
so that's where KRA comes in now.
Yeah, the KRA come in and they'll be able to compute all the turnover and all that. So basically, those are the costs that may be there.
I like how, John, you're making it sound very just basic, small cost, which is good and we love it. Definitely we have to recognize that we need this standardization so that at least when we're going out, customers and consumers feel safe consuming all these products. Gary, definitely I will not ask you a question on that because for you will wait for the returns and then say you need to declare what you have received from that. Now, time is up and I can tell you let me just read this comment because it was so powerful. Just listen in. This is, he's called Joe, and he likes to call himself a Django specialist. Is there a portal or a place of resources where we can see all the government initiatives or concessions that MSMEs can take advantage of? And he says not having access to information is a huge factor affecting SMEs. I don't know, because we are all bodies regulating definitely to ensure business is done in a fair and safe manner for consumers. But I think from where he stands, he's asking, can there be a one-stop shop, where I don't have to be told, hey, have you gotten Kipi? Oh, have you gotten Kips? Oh, and NEMA, so that at least when I sit here as an SME, I can just go to one-stop shop and everything is sorted. I just hope that's something that you look like you have a positive answer to that. Maybe I saw your head nodded, but I hope that's the case. But I may not give you the opportunity to respond to that. But quickly, and in 30 seconds, I would like you to give a parting shot. 30 seconds. I wish the timer could be put up. But let me start from you, Evelyn Kipi. What's your parting shot on this?
And for me, I would say that we have, if you visit our website, there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
We also give technological innovation support centers to see what is registered and what is available, especially for the SMEs to see what technology they can use.
Okay.
For instance, for soap manufacturing and all that.
Yeah.
We support you. We enable you to have a fair level playing ground in the market.
Okay.
What I would say again is that we have a waiver of fees for innovators.
Great.
If you have innovations, especially like now under COVID, and we take it through the board, we have a young scientist. This is a presidential directive that was given to KIPI, Young Scientists Innovative Program, where we mentor young innovators and they register their trademarks for free and patents for free. That's what I would say. In terms of information, we have the Ministry of Industrialization. There's a lot happening. We have Biashara centers where you can have a one-off, where you meet all of us. I think it's a collaborative effort to bring all our regulatory authorities together to help the SME access our services.
Thank you so much. Biashara centers, everything is there, one-stop shop there. From the Competition Authority of Kenya. Yes, sir, Arnold. 30 seconds, please.
In terms of accessing the authority services, we have a portal. Based on complaints which people can file in, are checking based on any applications, be it exemption applications, be it merger applications. Those ones we take in and we process everything. So it's not necessary for someone to come to the authority to, to be heard.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anastasia, what will be your closing remark? Make it short, 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. The National Environment Management Authority, our services are digitized, so you can access all our services through our website or even through eCitizen. And you can follow up through the email address that you provide to see the progress of your applications and see how far your licensing is. And I would say that we call upon all people so that we can work together to ensure that we have a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. Because for us to enjoy a clean and healthy environment, we have a duty, we have an obligation. So I call upon everyone to take up their obligation when it comes to environmental issues. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Let me come to KRA in the house. Please, Ms. Lena, what's your closing remark on this?
So KRA is available on all social media platforms. I believe we're all aware of that.
Yeah.
And with that, we have a very strong stakeholder engagement and taxpayer education program, which is sector-specific and tax-head-specific. So we have a marketing and communication department, which if you reach out to, they set this up for you. So we encourage everyone to reach out. If it's sector-specific, we can tailor-make our sensitization and program materials to just suit your sector and advise you on what you need to do in terms of compliance. And finally, we have currently running a voluntary tax disclosure program. We also have a waiver of penalties and interest ongoing this year for the next 3 years. So if you come and tell us you did not disclose this income previously and you'd like to disclose it, we will waive your penalties and interest, and all that information is available on our website.
Oh, all right, there you go. I might see you after this, but anyway, from KEBS.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I want to encourage our SMEs, first of all, where do you get the information? Is first of all, they can log into our website. That is the www.kebs.org. The certification requirements are there. And if you want to know the standard for the commodity that you are dealing with, then you can be able to just log into that website and then go to either purchase of standard or catalog of product standards, so that you can be able to know, if I'm doing peanut butter, what are the requirements in terms of product requirement and safety. So that is one which is a very key thing before you start manufacturing. What are the requirements? And the requirements are stated in a Kenya standards, and this you can be able to check. The other thing I think I would also want to talk about is that when you get certified, the benefits are clear. You'll be able to access these markets, and you'll be able to grow our economy. So do not fear, let's not manufacture, not fear. Just approach Kenya Bureau of Standards. We are in every region. We are in 6 regions. We are in Lake region. We are in Eldoret. We are in Garissa. We are in Nyeri. We are here in Nairobi and in Coast. And we also have other small offices in other towns. Yeah.
Wow. My panelists, thank you so much for being here. As you can tell, as one of the panelists said, we can take a whole day here until we get to the details of everything and try to tackle, and also to thank our viewers for all the questions that you have sent in. But just before then, what is KRA, KAM as well, doing to support inclusive manufacturing for SMEs, and we have a video that is going to play about inclusive manufacturing. That is Baraka video, and of course to still thank you so much for all the feedback. Our team right here will be able to get back to some of the questions that you've asked, but for now let's take a look at that video.
I'm Barak Unga. I run Barunga Mobility Solutions. What we do, we manufacture items or mobility. We do mobility services for persons with disability, like wheelchairs, motorized tricycles, and tricycles. I also live with a physical disability since birth. I'm 60 years old now. I started this business in 1995. And what inspired me to do it, I was walking a very long distance when I used to go to work. So I just made the first one, but it was not working well, but we progressed until we reached where we are now. One advantage I have is that I'm the first one to use it, so I know all the technical challenges. It's tailor-made for the person using it. And such a person can come to you, I want this. So you have to make it according to his disability. The mentorship was good. What I discovered is that there are some small things we ignore, but they are so important in marketing and the picture somebody has just on arrival. There are very, very small things which you have to improve. Display and even how your staff talk to people. I've already started implementing. If you came to my workshop the time before Association of Manufacturers came, it was in shambles. Things were dropped everywhere. But when they came, my boys tried, they are trying now to follow exactly what they were being told. So there are a lot we learned from them. My recommendation is if you can increase the time for training, I think it will be more better. The government should stress on this small business to employ more people. Like my place, I want more people. But what I don't have is the capacity to expand. I encourage other people to get into business. But before you get into business, first of all, you have to love your work. You have to get into business to inspire more people, to employ more people and assist more people. You do something you like, you love, you always make sure that your products are equivalent to what you charge. That one, you will be able to succeed in business.
Thank you so much for that, and for that session that we've had. Of course, thanking our panelists for ensuring that we have had that engaging conversation. All right, I think I've been asked to change my microphone now. Of course, because time is up on our end, I want to request Ms. Bomet, the Deputy Head of Policy Research and Advocacy, to kindly come and close the session for us. So I want to request her presence here to kindly come and just close for us, because the table is still hot with more questions that we have. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Mr. Chega. And good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have all of you participate in today's Kam Sme Bootcamp on regulatory compliance. We can all agree that this event has been such a success today. We hope that the multidisciplinary presentations from the regulatory authorities here present today and the discussions have been very informative for all of you and will support creating awareness on the requirements and opportunities for businesses in the manufacturing sector, especially the SMEs who we are here today to support, and of course also support us to drive compliance in the country and also lead to the required reforms that we need to put in place to ensure a conducive business regulatory environment. As you've all heard today, access to information on regulatory requirements is actually one of the key areas that SMEs need support. We are glad today that this forum has been able to realize that. We also hope from the structure of this forum has ensured we remained engaged through the presentations that we've had today from the government agencies who are here, the panel discussions which have been very informative, the quickfire, the video on inclusiveness, which you've been able to hear a lot of stakeholders speak to the business challenges that they have and the opportunities and the support that they require. We also had a very good part where participants, both who are present here and also virtually, have been able to engage and ask their questions. So for this forum to have been such a success that we've seen, it's all because of all of you here today. We therefore wish to express our appreciation to the following partners, the government partners who are here today. We have the State of East African Community and the Regional Integration, who was represented by the Principal Secretary, Dr. Kevit Desai. We have the State Department of Trade, represented here by Nancy Muya. Thank you so much for joining us. We have the Kenya Bureau of Standards, Mr. John Kabue, who has been very active in the panel discussions, and I think we've been able to learn a lot. The Kenya Revenue Authority, present today, Mr. Maurice Ore. Thank you so much for the feedback today and your representation. The National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, Ms. Anastasia Valu. Thank you so much. Kenya Industrial Property Institute, Ms. Elvin Apio, who we continue to work with. Thank you for your continued support. Competition Authority, Mr. Arnold Okanga. I think within this week he's been able to attend almost 2 forums to support the industry in understanding the Competition Authority's requirements. Also on the Code of Practice, thank you for your presence here. Kam members who are present, both here and online. The Kam Manufacturing SMEs, led by Ms. Shiro Waithaka, director also at Kam, who's been present here throughout the sessions. All members across the manufacturing sectors, thank you so much for attending and your participation. The Kam leadership and the Chief Executive Phyllis Wakiaga, who opened this forum today. The Kam Secretariat. The Secretariat, this forum was organized in collaboration with 2 teams, our Kam consulting team and our policy and research team, led by Ms. Joyce Njogu and Job Wanjohi. We also appreciate the technical team who've put this together. We have Ndutandi Rangu, we have Joseph Arioko, Jackson Wambua, Georgina, and the sector and the regional coordinators who have ensured that this information got to all our members across the country. Thank you to the communication team, led by Sally Kahiu, Rose Hilda, and Faith Chebet, who are here today, who've organized this setup as you've seen, which we have today, which has allowed us to be here, both physically and also stream this across the country so that we can ensure all the SMEs can watch us and hear this vital information that we wanted to pass here today. So lastly, of course, to thank our moderator, Mr. Maina Chege. Thank you for the engaging forum today and ensuring that we actually achieved our objectives. We'll circulate all the presentations from this meeting with all the participants for further references. Again, thank you, and we wish you a good afternoon. Asante.
Thank you so much, Madam Miriam Bomet, the Deputy Head of Policy Research and Advocacy. My goodness, this conversation, I still feel like there were so many other things we can address, and definitely it means we need to constantly have these conversations for all upcoming SMEs, the ones who are already there. As Kippy said, it's a process-based conversation, so we can keep on this conversation so that at least we can ensure that we have a better enabling environment for all this. And definitely, it's a brighter future for strong SME sector in this country. With the contributions they have, the 90% that we had from the research, we definitely need to support them. So I may not have much to say now, just to thank everybody here, as it has been thanked as well by Madam Miriam from the government institutions represented and all the participants online. And by the way, just to remind you, all your questions, even if you still have one, even later on after you watch this, because this will be left as well on the platforms, feel free to share your questions, because the team will engage you and give you sufficient answers. Right here from the Kenya Association of Manufacturers White Room, where we have had all this set up, it's goodbye, be blessed, and we're going to end with a video by a lady in manufacturing doing amazing work, Azavi Productions. Thank you.
Today on Come Live, I'm going to have an amazing conversation with an amazing woman, the founder of Azavi Foods, and she's going to tell us her journey as a manufacturing SME in Kenya.
My name is Pauline Kubasu. I am the founder and CEO of Azavi Foods. So after research, I started getting information on how do I bridge that gap of market access from the farm to the fork, to the end consumer. And at that time also Kenyans were getting to know, to embrace nutrition, eating, we are starting to become healthy conscious. So just wondering also, how do I meet the nutritional needs of the Kenyan people? So I decided that I needed to offer organic products that are of good quality, they're tasty, and for me to do that I needed to partner with certified farmers that are doing organic farming and have gone through the training so that food is safe from the time it is farmed, the time it goes through the value chain of production, and then to the end consumer. If the government would have more hubs created, because there's so many SMEs that are in the same, who are experiencing the same challenges I am, they need to scale up but can't because there's no facility they can move to. Because owning your own facility is quite expensive. Yeah? So having that hand-holding support either from the government or from associations like Kam that are lobbying for us would really help. So it motivates you and inspires you knowing that you're in the same journey that they were in at some point. They're able to point out the loopholes so that you do not waste a lot of time following a certain process that will take you too long. They have industry experience, they have a wider network, so they're able to link you with the right people.
In your line, or what do you feel is the future for SMEs in this country?
We're looking at the economy, building a strong economy. We'll be having less youth seated out there with no work because employment will have been created. We'll be seeing more industries coming up. We'll be seeing a hub where investors want to come in and help, or even we could be the ones investing in other countries and especially Africa. I'm excited to know that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is coming up because it will offer a market space for many other entrepreneurs to trade from one region to the other within Africa. So we become a hub within Africa where we're able now to take our products to other continents.
That was Pauline, the founder of Azavi Foods. This is Come Live. See you next time.